3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? This is the Undefeated by Choice podcast, and I am here with February 21st's main event, half of the main event, Mr. Cole Shafer. What's up, my dude?
Not much. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great, man. Hey, so I gotta start out right off the bat before we get into any of this. Are we still friends? Because last time I saw you in person, you were wanting to kill me.
Well, you know, it was your fault that guy didn't show up. I totally take that out on you. So.
I kept asking you that night, how is this my fault? And you just kept wanting to hurt me.
You let the matchup happen, so I'm blaming you.
I guess I did. I guess I'll take blame for it. I'm glad you didn't actually take it out on me that night. But, yeah, it was. I kept telling him, I'm like, Cole Shafer keeps blaming me for his fight not happening. He's chasing me around. You were chasing me around the arena.
I had to put it on somebody, all right?
Okay, all right.
Joe didn't show up, so it's not like I could blame him.
All right, I'll take it. Joe, you owe me, man, because I took the brunt of the whole thing. But you know, it worked out because you wanted to go pro your next fight. You didn't even want another AMI fight. You were just doing that because that was the fight that was given to you. So now here you are. You didn't even have to fight your last AMI fight, and now you have a pro fight right in front of you. So it all worked out, right?
Oh yeah, so, it worked out okay.
Yeah. So what are you mad at?
Well, I mean, I did sell tickets for the fight. I did have sponsors for the fight.
You did, and
things like that.
You showed up, and I felt what Kevin did, getting up in the ring and talking about how you were 100% ready, and he kind of gave you a good pat on the back. That was a nice thing, I thought.
Oh yeah, that's the thing is, there's nothing they could have done about it. There's nothing anyone could have done about it except for Joe.
Yeah.
That's the thing is where he waited to the last minute, and the things he did leading up to it. There was a lot of things that could have went differently. A lot of guys that could have stepped up and taken the fight.
Yeah,
things happen. That's life. It goes.
I wouldn't have been surprised if your current opponent for this fight would have stepped up last minute and jumped in, because Nick's always ready to go.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's, I mean, at the fight I had 7 or 8 people say, oh, if I would have known, I would have jumped in. And,
oh, wow.
No, there's a lot of guys that are willing to jump in, or they're at least willing to say that jump in. So that's the thing with it is, all around, it was just not great on him. And that's what it comes back to him. You're not supposed to have to babysit the fighters. If they sign a contract, say they're going to do stuff and show up, you kind of expect them to show up. So do what you can. Get over it.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you did. Glad you're here now. We're ready to go for your first pro fight. I was going to ask, when I brought that up, I was going to ask, what's more, because you did have to get up and address the crowd on the mic. What's more terrifying as a fighter, addressing the crowd on a microphone or actually getting in and fighting?
Oh, the microphone for sure.
Oh, that's so funny to me. That is a thing for people. That would be I would love to be in there on the microphone. Put me behind a mic, I'm at home. Put me anywhere else, I get a little bit gun shy.
Oh, that's the thing, man. The fight, you spent how long getting ready for it? You walk in and then give you, hey, in an hour we need you to stand in front of all these people and explain what happened. It's like, I don't even know what happened yet.
yeah. I'm still trying to make my mind around it. Yeah. Well, you did a good job. You look like a pro. You look like you're ready for the big time. You know, being on the mic, maybe having Joe Rogan instead of Dave standing next to you or anyone else. So yeah. Speaking of that, did you watch the fights last night?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I work nights now. So
you missed out on an instant classic, the Reyes-Jones fight. Yeah, but that fight did not come without quite a bit of controversy. There's a lot of people who think that Reyes actually took that fight. So I wanted to get into that. Ask you, what do you think about MMA scoring? Is it something that needs to be fixed? Do you think it works? Is it a necessary evil? What's your thoughts on MMA scoring?
So I just went down to the Vegas fight with my fighter Justin Ledette, and I mean, everybody I talked to thought he had that fight won, and it ended up being a unanimous decision that he lost, and it was a huge thing. and there's nothing you can do about it. Once the judge says it, it's done, it's done. So
yeah,
it sucks that somebody's sitting on the outside watching and trying to decide what they decide is a significant blow, what's just striking, what misses. And it's not like you have the TVs and you can slow-mo and see what's happening. You're trying to judge everything right as it happens and keep up with the flow, and it's hard to, it's hard to be a judge. I wouldn't want to do it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're a necessary evil. I mean, what are we going to do? Have 50-minute brawls until somebody drops?
Yeah.
I mean,
that has been
really do it in the other way.
That has been proposed. For Ross from TriStar, when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, he was like, "Why do we have time limits? Like, let's see what happens if we just go in there and see how people use their gas tanks and see how people use their energy and see what happens, and why do we have time limits?" But you couldn't have 10 fight cards, 12 fight cards if you didn't have time limits, because you could have guys that could be in there for a few hours rolling around, especially the wrestlers. And that's what go ahead.
Well, that's the thing, is like you said, how do you put a time limit for things? If you start a show at 7 o'clock and the first fight goes for 35 to 40 minutes, you're pretty well screwed. How do you get your guys warmed up in the back? How do you have the next fight ready? There's just too many factors into that you can't have ready.
Yeah. No, I agree. It would be a mess, and I don't really know how you do it. The whole system would have to change. I was thinking about the MMA scoring, and I did one of my solo episodes talking about the whole thing, and I kind of broke it down saying, I don't ever sit on a scorecard. I don't ever pull out a scorecard and do it myself, because I never break it down round for round. I try to look at the totality of the fight. In the beginning, Reyes he won the first 2 rounds easily. He might have won the 3rd round. And so if you look at it round for round, he probably won more rounds. But if you look how the fight ended, it was Reyes backpedaling, John not even really dazed, not gassed, still moving forward, controlling the center of the octagon, pushing the pressure. And I would say in a real fight, Reyes threw everything he had at John, and it didn't stop him, didn't drop him, didn't phase him, and John kept moving forward and was more fresh. And had there not been a time limit, it would have ended with John putting him to sleep. So I said I had no issue with that call. First, if you go round for round, but that's not the totality of the fight. That's not the indicator of the entire fight. So, I felt that it was a good call. And we had the same situation in an earlier fight where you had a wrestler, and I was going to ask you this: as a wrestler, do you think that the judging benefits you, because you had a wrestler in Latifi, Lair Latifi, that's such a hard name to pronounce. He fought Derek Lewis, and he had 2 takedowns in 2 rounds, controlled him most of the round, or a good portion of the round, controlling him on the ground on top. But he ended up losing the fight because Derek Lewis was, at the end of the fight, coming forward, throwing heavy punches, not really looking like anything that Latifi had done had phased him, and he ended up winning the fight. So as a wrestler, I was like, I would have thought completely they would have given the fight to Latifi, because he had 2 takedowns and controlled the fight. And so I don't know, I just was wondering what your thoughts are as someone who's known as a wrestler. Do you think that as the MMA scoring is right now, that plays to your favor?
Oh, yeah. That's the thing, is if you can get a takedown with the last 10 seconds, they'll give you the round almost.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing to say, is with as many guys as you have that can just outbox, outstrike, and play the game and be a smarter fighter, somebody just rolls in and somehow gets you on the ground. And, even if you just kind of fall down, you lost all the momentum that you had leading up to the end of that round. The judges are like, well, he got taken down, so whatever.
Yeah.
He lost that round.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, unless they slam you hard or, put you down rough, it's not like takedowns hurt you.
Yeah.
It's not like they burn a lot of energy getting taken down. It's not like, with jiu-jitsu guys, even they like to be taken down. So that's part of the game too, is if the guy takes you down, you pull right into guard, side or whatever. how do you play that off? Because that's, I think, jiu-jitsu against the leader's position.
I had
the whole MMA game.
I had you break up on that last sentence. What was that last sentence? Sorry.
Oh, I just said that, jiu-jitsu kind of gets a underrated scoring because you are in a very vulnerable position, laying on your back, striking out, trying to grab a hold of things, pull people in. It's not a lot of fun to watch, and so the crowd will start booing when guys get really technical in jiu-jitsu because it's not a bloodbath and it's not guys just beating the heck out of each other.
Yeah, and I've always, we always comment on your wrestling. Your wrestling is always something that comes up in
kind of sad to
Oh, you're breaking up.
say, but
I'm starting to lose you.
yeah,
I'm losing
I
you.
just got a poor connection video.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, you back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back.
Okay. You had to stand up. You had to.
Well, my internet went down or something. Frack.
Anyways, what I was saying was, we always comment about your wrestling. We always talk about your wrestling, how good of a wrestler you are. But I personally have trouble calling you a wrestler because you don't use it a ton. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I use it when I need to.
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
That's something that I'm gonna rely on completely.
Yeah, I've never felt like, Cole's just going to go in and throw hands just to set up a takedown. He's not going to go in and do something just to get a takedown. Like, when you go in and you're throwing hands, I'm like, yeah, he's going to stand there and throw hands. And if he absolutely has to go for a takedown, maybe he'll go for it. And then a lot of times, when you take someone down, and just knowing the pedigree that you have, a lot of times I'm like, and I even mentioned this on the solo episode I did, like, you don't fight like say when Khabib takes somebody down, it's like once they're down, it's life or death that he keeps them down and he stays on top of them. Like, he's fighting every tooth and nail to make sure he stays on top. I don't really get that feeling for you. I feel like sometimes you're like, okay, all right, let's get back up, let's stand back up. Like, I've taken you down, I've gotten the control, I've gotten the points, and now let's stand back up and bang. Is that another fair assessment?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, if I can take someone down once, I can probably take him down again.
Yeah. I love that mentality. I love that. And nothing's more demeaning than that. Like, you take someone down, then you let them up, then you take them down again, you let them up.
Yeah.
Is it? I think it was Kamaru Usman who said that that's what he used to do in wrestling tournaments. Like, he would always win by tech fall because he would take someone down and then let them back up just so he could take them down, just so he could get them back up, take them down, and that's such a wrestling mentality. Like, I'm just gonna humiliate you. Not only am I just gonna beat you, but I'm gonna humiliate you while I'm doing it.
Well, it's not even that. It's just a show of, the straight dominance that, if I can take you down at will and I can let you go because I'm not stressed about taking you back to the ground. Like, that's a big thing for dominance. Yeah. To get in someone else's head, to sit there and be like, I can take you down anytime I want. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I agree. I can agree. Not being a wrestler, I still, I don't know, I feel pretty close to a wrestler's mindset just because I've had it forced on me. All my, a lot of my, training partners are wrestlers, so they have forced that on me, and that's always that just the, not only just winning, but just establishing dominance in the fight is like a very big mindset. So, speaking of this whole entire fight, how is your camp going this time around?
I mean, hell, I just rolled 2 camps into one, so
yeah, that's true. You went from one right to the other. And where are you training at again? Who are you training with? Who are your training partners?
So I'm training down at Salt Lake Muay Thai mostly right now. Ned Shubat, I think that's how you say it. He's my main coach right now with striking, jiu-jitsu, working with Gustavo Rodriguez with some of his jiu-jitsu out of the Salt Lake Muay Thai, and then Kobayashi Studios up in Heber doing kickboxing, point fighting, stuff like that. So a little bit everywhere.
Yeah, there was another interview that I was that I think that he did a really good job. It's Jason Laporte with Semper Fit Nutrition podcast or something. He interviewed Zach Partridge, and they were talking about where your camp was, and both of them were like, I don't really know where he trains. I swear he just kind of is everywhere. So like you're
talking about me?
Yeah. Well, they were breaking down all the fights. They were breaking down every fight individual. So when they would say someone, they're like, yeah, well, he trains out of here. He trains out of here. And then when they got to you, they're like, I don't really know where Cole fights. I think he's in like Heber, and I think he's just like, they're like, we just see him pop up like posting pictures. He's like in high school gyms, and so it's like you're like, oh, you're almost seen as like an independent, but you actually have a set gym that you're going to. Is that new, or is this have you been going there?
New.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. So has it been for these last two camps?
Yeah.
Oh, so you've gotten 2 full camps at a full Muay Thai gym striking. Oh boy. Yep. Oh boy. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see the evolution of Cole.
Yeah, it'll be fun though.
Yeah.
That's how they used to be. Would meet up at the high school gym, go with the high school wrestlers, play with them, and then when I had Shane Bonner, Chris Wellman, Ryan Thaxton, all those guys were with Chef's Place, and that would all meet up together in basements and things like that. And, had Brittany Navarrete. She's a boxing up here. She's started working with me last fights before I moved down to Texas, and so it was always kind of a hodgepodge of trying to mix things together, and now I finally got a place that I can kind of run it down and make things happen and keep it very strict to what I'm doing. I'm excited to see what that does, because I mean, we've seen that time and time again, fighters who kind of just bounce around or don't really have anything set, then they go to like an actual gym. I think Kevin Lee, we just saw that after his coach passed away. He was on this high trajectory, and then his coach passed away, and he's like, oh, I'll just do it myself, and then that really wasn't working for him, and now he's at TriStar, and then he had that last knockout against Gillespie that was highlight reel. So I'm excited to see what this camp's going to bring out in you. And you've got, but this is a completely different challenge than what you were setting up for last time. I mean, last time you were facing another wrestler with some good striking. Now you're fighting someone who's seen more as a jiu-jitsu guy and a striker. What differences did you put in your camp to adjust for this fight? What do you know about Nick? What are you preparing for most in this fight? The big thing is just going out there, man. It's going from amateur to pro, so there's a lot of things that I got to watch out for now. Head kicks, elbows, all the other stuff like that. So there's just trying to get my brain processing that stuff can come at you, and you get those amateur fights where it's like, yeah, they can kick me in the shoulder, they can kick me in the ribs, but you're not kicking me in the head, stuff like that. So it's trying to get myself mentally ready for that stuff. I know Nick's a good fighter. He's willing to fight everybody. He's jumped in. He fought Eric Munoz. He's fought Hayden Brown in the last, what was that, 6 months?
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's willing to fight the up and comers. He's willing to fight the old guys that are dragging it out, and he'll go to battle for it. So I know he'll be ready, and I know he's going to show up and be ready to go. So,
and this fight's at 185, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're sticking at that weight? This is the weight you're going to be at for a while?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when you walk around at 205, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to fight at 205.
Yeah.
And I was thinking my last fight at 205, I weighed 195 by the time I got done with camps and everything else, and I weighed in fully dressed, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, this guy weighs 210 the next day. I was like, no, I still weigh 195. Like, I had a burger on the way down to weigh-ins. Like, so I got no reason to go back to 205.
Yeah. And so I'm guessing, and since we just rolled one camp and the other, your diet probably didn't change. You probably just got right back into it. So your weight's right on at this point?
Yeah, and that seems I didn't get as big because I just kept it going. So I didn't get to be my 205, 210s between there, and cut back down. So I've just stayed leaner, stayed more on top of my weight, so I don't have to make a big weight cut at the end. I can just get to where I'm training almost at weight.
Yeah, I like that.
The fight, I'll be there.
I like that anyways. When I get heavy in training, I'm just like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right to to be training and not close to the weight that you're fighting at, because it's once you're down in weight, everything feels different. It's just I don't understand the getting so big in between camps mentality. But I do understand it, because eating food is awesome and delicious, and we're all addicted to it. So I understand it. But then I'm also like, you only have this short window to be doing this this fight game. You can be disciplined for a few years. So I like to hear that weight's good. That's always a concern of mine, just because I hate people trying to do big weight cuts, and we saw what happens if you try to do a big weight cut at the last minute. I mean, I hate to hear about it, because it's dangerous. It doesn't always work out the way you want it to. So hearing that your weight's good, I'm glad to hear that.
The rest where I am, I wait.
You're used to it. This is nothing new to you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I asked you this last time on our last interview, but do you because you're not an old dog yet. I mean, you've got some fights underneath you, but you're still pretty young in the game. Do you remember your first fight? Do you remember the thought, the nerves, what went down during the fight? Like, what was that like for you?
Well, I couldn't tell you what happened during the fight, but
everything went black.
I just say once the door closed, it just kind of happens.
Okay, so everything leading up to it. Explain that. What was the nerves like? How'd that feel?
It wasn't horrible, honestly. I mean, with wrestling, doing all the stuff we do, it's not terribly out of the realm of what I've already done.
Yeah.
And so as far as the nerves, it was the good nerves of, you have the excitement, you have that anxiety of, did I do everything I needed to do? Was everything this is the first one I've ever done this way. Did I practice the right skills? Did I do the right things? And so you constantly go back and forth of, this is a little bit sore. Did I do this wrong? Did my body's a little bit beat up, from the camp and everything. It's what did I miss? But at the same time, I don't think I ever went into a wrestling season or anything that I didn't have something aching and moaning and groaning about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do one wrestling.
You go into one feeling healthy, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I do one wrestling. I do one wrestling practice, and I'm dead for about 2 weeks. I can't imagine doing a whole camp. Do you have a visitor?
Yeah.
So you remember where you were at? What fight you were on?
Complex.
What do you remember? What
the complex?
Where you were at on the card? First fight, last fight.
I was number 3 or 4.
Oh,
so I got in, got it done, and
still that would be kind of rough for me. I was first fight, and that was heaven. Just get it over with. By the time you know what's going on, you're already in there throwing.
Exactly. You get a warm up, walk straight out, and get it done.
Yeah. But, I see these guys, these main eventers like yourself, and I'm like, I don't know how you sit back there the whole time and just.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
That's the worst part of it.
It's coming, and it gets lonely, man. I'll go in there the last fight right before, and you guys are just in there, it's just you and your coaches. It's lonely. Most of the commission's gone. You only have the one that has to watch you's left. I'm like, this is a sad scene. And then you got to go out, and then it changes. Because everybody's there to see you, everyone's there to cheer you on. So it changes once you get out of there. But I'm like, man, I don't think I'd ever want to be a main event.
Main event's rough. Co-main, I've done co's. I've been a co-main event a couple of times now. It's rough to sit there and you twiddle your thumbs for quite a while because you have to get there before the show starts, everything else.
Yeah.
Sometimes you sit back there for 6 hours just kind of hanging out.
You got to keep your cool while everyone else is getting pumped up one after another. That could be draining, but I'm confident you'll be all right. I'm confident you'll make it through that part all right.
Yeah, if that part beats me, I'm in trouble.
Well, I mean, we've seen some people crumble under the lights, but I do not think that will be you, my friend. So about Nick, where do you see his strengths being? What are you planning for? What are you planning on him bringing to the table in this fight?
So he is a southpaw, which is different for a lot of people. Luckily, I have some training partners, stuff like that are southpaw, so that makes that a little bit easier. It's not as big a shock to go out and have somebody at a different stance moving differently.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He's got good striking. So it'll be interesting just to kind of play it off, see where he goes and see how he moves and things like that, and just base off what I got to do and go for it.
See what
like I said,
see what he.
Go ahead. One of those ones that goes and looks up all his film and tries to figure out what he's doing and find all his little ticks and things like that. I hate that.
Yeah, you hate that? I love that. I'm the nerd of that. That's why me and Munoz get along so well, because we nerd out over stuff.
That's like I'll see stuff and I'm like, all right, like it is what it is, but I'm not gonna like change anything that I'm doing to try and fix or to like
capitalize
what I do. Yeah. That's it's one thing if it's like, okay, be aware of it, things go on, but you don't like change who you are and how you fight to make it someone else's fight.
Yeah,
I'd rather just push him out of his bubble and make him fight my fight, and then doesn't matter what he does, it's in mine.
That's a killer game plan. I mean, it works for a lot of people. It worked. I mean, that's what a lot of the champions do. That's what, we saw it last night. That's what John normally does. He wasn't able to do it last night, but that's normally what he does. He makes people fight his fight. Shevchenko, she makes everybody fight her fight, and she did it again last night to a T. I mean, the girl came in saying, I'm gonna fight my fight. She's gonna have to adjust to mine. And then once she got in there, she got hypnotized and had to just fight Shevchenko's fight, and it works for her. So if it works for you, man, stick with it, because if you get people fighting your fight, then we can see quite a few champions who make it work for them. So be excited to see you get in there and do that for yourself. I think I usually ask, where we see the advantages being. We've talked about your wrestling quite a bit, but I'm interested to hear about this striking you've been working on. So you go to Salt Lake Muay Thai is what you call it?
Yep.
So are you doing? Is it more of a Muay Thai style? Is what you're doing now, or what? I mean, I don't want to give away any of your new tricks or anything, but anything that you want to give us about your striking and what you've been working on, I'll take it.
I mean, yeah, it's a little more Muay Thai. It's a little more conventional that way of like the kickboxing and everything like that. Granted, I'm going to put a wrestler spin on everything.
Yeah.
Make it mine, because I'm not gonna change who I am to make a different style. But
yeah, I would say that'd be a really strange transition to see you go from that traditional Muay Thai lifting that front foot up to all of a sudden planting your foot for a takedown. You'd have to be a super athlete in order for us to see those changes quite a bit. So I'm interested to see the wrestlers take on a Muay Thai striking style. I'm interested to see this.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah. We'll have a good time with it.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. It's, again, you and Nick are two that I'm super excited to see, because I know both of you guys personally, and it's you guys take it serious what you're doing, but you also have fun with it, and that's. I mean, if you're not having fun doing this, don't do it. If this is ruining you and you're losing your hair over this, and you're not having any fun, then what is the point of it? So I do like you and Nick, because it's something you take serious. It's not like every fight's a throwaway fight. Oh, I could win, I could lose, whatever. I'm just in there. But you guys take it serious, but it's also something you enjoy. So I'll tell you what, man, I'm excited for this one, and I've been promoting it. On all my little solo episodes, talking about, dude, this is one to watch. This is an exciting one. This is a good one. So
I appreciate that.
Of course, man. Of course. I just don't want you to beat me up, is the thing. I just want to be on your good side at all times.
All right.
The last thing I want is to even just have you take a double leg on me. Because I remember when we did, run a few drills together, I was like, oh, this guy is on a different level than a lot of people. Oh, he's much different. This is different. So yeah, you humbled me very quickly, and you were being nice while you were doing it too. That's what was scary. So anybody who hasn't been out to see a Cole Shafer fight, what do they have to look forward to? If this is someone's first experience coming to a SteelFist fight, watching Cole Shafer fight, what do they have to look forward to?
I mean, they know there's going to be a fight. It's going to go out. It's going to be, like you said, I'm not a wrestler that's going to try and take someone down and just hang on them and grind them out. we're going to go out, we're going to square off, we're going to go to town. As soon as I don't think I've had a boring fight, win or lose. I've always made sure people enjoyed what they were there to see.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is it'll be fun. I know Nick's going to show up and he's going to give it everything he's got. So it's not going to be a boring fight where people just kind of stand back and try to play patty cake and sit around. And it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Yes.
Go for it, and we're going to beat the hell out of each other.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. I know. I can attest to this. Cole Shafer does not have boring fights. It just doesn't happen. First fight I ever saw you in was against my teammate, and I was like, whoa, this guy brings it. He comes, and I've only seen good things since then. So if this is your first time coming out to SteelFist card, you've come to the right one. Cole Shafer does not put on boring fights. Again, always have to do this. What do you like about fighting for SteelFist? What can we be doing better? Let us know what you think.
The big thing is, if they can get me a few more fights, I wouldn't be upset with that.
Okay. We'll work on that.
Make sure guys show up and things,
Well, we can't control that, my friend. I wouldn't doubt if in the history of fighting, Kevin or Pat have not driven down to actually pick someone up to make sure they show up, but sometimes that's out of our control. Sometimes that's out of our control.
No, they're good about it. That's the thing, is they're good guys about the way they pick fights. They don't take guys that they've never seen before, that they don't trust will show up. Like I said, the thing with Joe was he had 5 or 6 fights beforehand. It's not like he ever pulled the crap before. So they do vet fighters, and they do want to have good fights. And that's one nice thing about them, is they're not trying to give anybody a padded record. They're not trying to, make anybody feel good about themselves as a fighter. They want you to go out, fight, promote them, promote yourselves, and they want to put on a good show.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it's all about, is building up this MMA game here in Utah and putting us on the map. You have probably the most sponsors of anybody, so I'm just going to give you the next 20 minutes to go ahead and thank everybody who sponsors you and helps you out, and give any shout outs that you want to give.
Awesome. I appreciate that. So first